I'm Christa Hill.
And I'm Renee Matsella.
And we are the founders of Tacit Edge, a tech education company dedicated to shifting the demographics of women and visible minorities graduating into product management at top companies around the world.
And this is our podcast, Product for Humans, where we explore the human side of product management. We'll answer all your burning questions like, what is product management? What is a product? How do you get started? And why do you belong in product management? That's right, because you belong. We hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Product for Humans.
And we're back for fall season. Yes, after a great summer.
Yes. Yeah, we took a summer break. I hope everyone else did as well. We're joined with Jill here today. We'll let Jill introduce herself, but before that, we want to just hear, how was everyone, like, what was the highlight of your summer? People chime off in the comments. Let us know. What did you get up to? And we'll all say, everyone, Jill, what was the highlight of your summer?
The highlight of my summer was going to British Columbia with my family and spending some time with them, doing lots of swimming, and just spending so much time outside in our beautiful weather.
Oh, nice. Christa, how about you? What was the highlight?
We had epic amounts of time in the van, taking it all the way to Vancouver Island and back, and then all over this beautiful province. So I would just say, like, on a mass, probably the best summer as a family ever, and the most time working remote and being away from home, which I think is like the dream we're trying to create here with this company. Yeah. Renee?
The van life.
The tales.
The van life. The highlight was learning how to crack climb in Squamish, which is jamming your hands and feet and crack in the rock and making your way up a mountain. Yeah, that was the highlight. Oh my gosh.
2 weddings in one day?
Yeah, weddings in one day. Oh my gosh. How'd you
Hopefully not yours.
That?
We'll have a certain generation where that joke is more funny. Sorry.
No, I think that transcends. Maybe one was yours and one was a friend's, or 2 friends, or who knows.
The normal.
Yeah, everyone keep posting. Well, what's so funny is, like, everyone's highlights often has to do with family, friends, and travel. So, how apt that we're joined by Jillian Hill from Travel Alberta to talk about product management in the tourism industry. Welcome, Jill.
Welcome, Cheryl. Get here. I'm so excited to keep here with love.
Oh my gosh, we are so happy to have you here. It feels like this is a long time coming. We've been watching your career just flourish and you become a leader in this industry. So we're just so excited to pull back the curtain, because I think a lot of people don't know how much technology is at the center of our tourism industries. It's going to be awesome. Jill, do you want to just give us a quick intro, who you are, what you do, and what you're excited to talk about today?
Yeah, absolutely. I am the group product manager at Travel Alberta. I have over 10 years of experience in the tourism industry. I'm lucky to have built an incredible team of product managers at Travel Alberta from the ground up. And we're really helping to power Alberta's visitor economy through our technology. Before Travel Alberta, I was at WestJet, and I was on the marketing team that helped get them on the global stage and launch those flights to the UK from Alberta. It was a super exciting time, and it's just incredible to see their growth in the last few years and how much they've expanded globally. Of course, I love traveling, but what I really love about that is about meeting the people and understanding the culture and making the connections and seeing what life is like in those countries. I was able to study and live abroad for a bit in Spain and in Mexico and a little bit in China. So really cool experiences that really have helped shape who I am today. And I'm excited to talk about product and travel and Alberta, all the things.
Yes.
Were
Amazing. Like when you have such a, let's say, an interesting path, like everybody has an interesting path into product, which we'll talk about yours a little bit later. But when you think about building a career around an interest in travel, how did you get into tourism? Like, how did you identify that was a industry that was for you?
It was really the studying abroad that really shaped that interest in me. Moving to a totally new country and it's like something else. It's like life-changing, obviously. So it really gave me an appreciation for anyone who does have to move to Canada and adjust to all the differences in culture, the language, just getting used to like living everyday life. And I just felt like that connection to working and being around people that are from all different backgrounds. Yeah, and make it a foray. I obviously love WestJet as an Albertan company, and its home base is Calgary, where I'm located. Was able to join our marketing team, and that was my first foray into tourism. And on that team, we did a lot of cool things, all the retail activations, and then, like I mentioned before, expanding globally into the UK. It was a really exciting time at the organization.
Wow. So you're at the forefront of turning WestJet into a global powerhouse.
Yes, it was wild. It was a big change for the company, and they really took off and grew. It went from being an airline that's taking us Canadians down to the States or to Mexico, the Caribbean. But yeah, that was the first time where they were able to get the larger planes that could travel across the Atlantic, get over to the UK. Now, of course, they're in many destinations in Europe, as well as Asia, South Korea, Japan. It's just really exciting and really incredible that they're in our own backyard.
Oh, and so what led you to go from WestJet then to Travel Alberta?
So what really caught my attention was they were hiring for Travel Alberta was hiring for a global marketing manager. And so the markets were the UK and Mexico. And I was like, wow, this is like a dream job, getting to promote Alberta in those countries, getting to use my skills, those relationships that I have in WestJet. So it was like the perfect role. And for a year, I did that role and worked in those global markets, learned a ton about what those travelers are interested in, what brings them to Alberta. And then COVID hit, of course. And a funny story is I had my bags packed at the office. I remember I set it down next to my desk, and I was supposed to go to Germany for a big travel trade show, one of the biggest in the world. And I was lucky to be going. And that is when pretty much everything just shut down. Flights were stopping. The conference, they weren't sure if it was going to go ahead. So unfortunately, it didn't go because of COVID. And then, yeah, I just ended up being a few years where everything was just on hold and the world had just totally changed.
Wally, what was that like at that time, being in travel and doing, okay, everything's
Now what?
Yeah, now what?
It was like nothing else. No one couldn't have predicted this would ever happen. And we were you honestly just had to take it day by day. Things were changing, ever evolving throughout the course of however many years, 2 years. We all got told, okay, not safe to travel. You have to do these steps in order to leave the country. There were so many things, and we're at the mercy of those regulations, of course, and we want to keep everyone safe. It was the epitome of being nimble and rolling with the punches and seeing what we could do and then working together. So all of the tourism partners in Alberta, we established a really close bond and started working together and hunting as a pack. And I think that is really what got us out of the COVID gulch and ahead. And now, of course, we're all back up and ready and things are going well.
Can you talk a little bit about the recovery? Because I know so many industries, there was such like you mentioned, it's a massive dip, but then recovery to baseline before you were COVID or were before COVID hit, or where's Travel Alberta now in comparison to what you were up to before COVID?
Yeah, so during COVID, actually, Travel Alberta, our mandate changed to not only promoting Alberta as a tourism destination, but developing new experiences. So when we talk about supply and demand, We are now doing both things, essentially. We're creating new experiences around the province, getting people to travel around, and we're also driving that demand on globally. So that was a huge shift for our organization to do both those things. And we had a really interesting approach with how we were going to do that. So that involved continuing the promotion in the markets where we had the highest likelihood of getting travelers to come back. It included getting more seats into Alberta, more airline seats, so people could easily get to Alberta. And then, just really working together, like I said, hunting as a pack with our partners, working with those airlines, working with other destinations throughout the province to get the word out that we're welcoming travelers back again.
So taking the downtime to
pivot, totally. And we actually have surpassed our pre-COVID revenue for tourism expenditures. So basically, we're back and better than we were pre-COVID, which is really exciting.
Oh, and how's that compare like to other locations? Is everyone up and back, or did y'all?
Right, and we were the quickest to return back to pre-COVID level in Canada. So very proud moment for our teams. We really worked hard through the pandemic, and it was a lot of change and just navigating all the unknowns. But really proud that we have surpassed those tourism spend levels.
That's incredible, Jillian. Like when you think about economies of scale, and we have about, I think last check, we looked a little earlier when doing some research around our industries and comparing them side by side so folks can get an idea for scale of what tourism represents as an industry in Alberta and how much it contributes to our economy. We have, I think it was like, over 200,000 folks are employed in tourism roles versus in tech, we have, I think, under 100,000 folks. So when you think about the size of our industries and the impact that a recovery could have on our trajectory as a province and what that means to how we're all succeeding here as an economy, can you give us an idea for the numbers around Travel Alberta? Like, what is the spend? How many people? Like, where do they come from? And how do you target those individual people to come over based on what they would want?
Yeah, so in 2023, we were able to get $12.7 billion in Alberta's economy from tourism. So those visitors that are coming globally or domestically, $12.7 billion of that is injected into our economy in 2023, which is incredible. And we have a goal to double the tourism spend and hit $25 billion by 2035, on the year 2035. So we have incredible goals and a lot of exciting things on the horizon. In terms of our markets, we really focus on those high potential markets, visitors that will stay a little bit longer, travel around the province, see all the things to do here. So those markets are like UK, Germany. We had a little bit in Asia. And then, of course, the US is one of our biggest markets just because it's so accessible. So those are our target markets right now.
So Alberta's like a global tourism product, essentially.
Yes, we're on the global stage. And a lot of people, of course, recognize the Rocky Mountains. That's what, if you ask someone in London, what do you think of when you think of Canada? They'll probably say the Rockies or Banff. But there's so much more to that. And that's really part of our role, too, is to showcase those other experiences throughout the province and get people moving around and exploring more.
How does product management play into that?
Products are, of course, at the center of what we do because if you're located in the UK, the only thing you can do is look online to explore more. We have not only our own website, but tourism is really an ecosystem of all of our partners working together. So for Travel Alberta, that looks like driving that demand and that awareness of Alberta as a global destination, and then handing off certain parts of the journey, the traveler journey, to our partners. So whether it's researching places to stay or hotels, Airbnbs, experiences, or tours, we're all part of this cool little ecosystem working together.
Which, I mean, goes way beyond what you can find on Google, right? And can you talk a little bit about some of the research you did globally to identify the experience types that people are looking for and how you might market the product of Alberta to them differently?
Yeah, so we did a few years ago. This was just, I guess, on the outside of the pandemic when we could travel again, but we did in-market research with those travelers from our key markets. So in the UK, in the US, Germany, and we really asked them, what makes Alberta stand out to you? And what do you enjoy doing while you're here? How do you plan your itinerary? What do you do in the day? And how much do you like to leave room for exploration? And we learned there's two types of travelers that are two personas. So we have this learner type, this curious adventurer that really wants to understand what the locals are doing, leave room for exploration, research on sites like Wikipedia of all things, and understand what that destination's about. Very curious. And then the other persona is our hotspot hunters, where they like to pack a lot in their itinerary, do everything from sunrise to sunset, pack the days, and get all the shots, get the Instagram shots, and frame-worthy moments. So those two types are very different. And what's interesting is that the curious adventure types tend to be from countries like the UK, Germany, even in the US. And then in our Asian markets, we have a lot of those hotspot hunter types. And of course, both personas exist in those markets, but we found that there's usually a majority of one type of persona per market. And so that what really allows us to narrow in on who we're targeting, the types of content that they're interested, the stories that they're interested in, the platforms even that we can reach them on.
It is so incredible to think that we can use these product tactics around primary and secondary research and find ways to talk to real people about what it is that they're looking for, what motivates them to travel, and what they want the memories of their travel to look like. Like, what is the output from the trip? Is it a reel, or is it like something totally different?
Yeah, like a story you can tell your friends when you come home versus something that I know every single place Christa's gone to. You grab.
I do, yes.
So is Christa a hotspot or a curious or a bit of both?
She's a hotspot. You can usually tell one or the other, which is if I'm excited about with someone. How do they plan their trip? Are they one thing in the morning, one thing in the afternoon, something in the evening, or it's 18 things all stacked on top of each other?
Okay. Christa, what are you? I'm curious. What do you?
My Instagram reel would tell you that I'm the hotspot hunter, but I think we all know that when I'm traveling on my own, I'm very much not. So I think if you see someone in my Instagram with me, we all know what's happening. And when you don't see any posts from me, what's happening. So I think I sit on both sides.
Yeah, so it's a balance. It's a balance for sure. Yeah. That is so interesting. So what do you think the difference is between these different markets where one might have more of the hotspot folks and one might have more of the curious adventurers?
I truly do think it's the culture. So like during cultures, they appreciate certain things differently. Yeah, in the Rockies, we do see a lot of those hotspot hunters, interestingly, and like you might go over to the Badlands or under lesser known areas, even the cities, and be at the music festival or a museum or an art gallery. And that's where those curious adventurers are usually lurking around. Yeah. And it's interesting just the shifts in the dynamics, but I do think it all comes down to culture being at the core of what they're most interested in, how they plan those trips.
It just helps diversify the spend too, right? And you could pull these levers based on capacity. And I think it's really interesting as an owner of a 24-foot-long van, parking is at a premium in some of the hot spots, right? And it's growing to be more and more of a challenge. And to learn that you are all actually watching capacity for when these destinations are sold out, how might you shift the product offering more towards the curious adventurers to move some of that capacity and fill some of the capacity in places that are looking for more folks to visit is fascinating to me.
Yeah, we're definitely we're in the background with our little levers, pulling levers for areas that do need a lot of promotion and support. So in the wintertime, for example, the Rockies, we have lots of space and we want people to go skiing and enjoy all the amazing winter activities. And so we'll dial up that lever and help promote the Rockies in the winter and get Americans or people from Europe or Asia come over. And then in the summer, we shift more of our focus to those rural areas and lesser known spots. And so, yeah, it's really cool just to see how we can find that balance and make sure that we're doing an even spread of travelers just to enjoy everything.
And how do you use technology and products what's the technology and products you're using to turn those dials?
We have a lot of data that we pull together from various sources. So whether that's airline data or like how many flights are coming into the province at any given season or at any given time. We look at hotel occupancy. We look at trends for like normally we're full in the summer or we're quieter in the winter. We look at all those signals. Search demand. What are kind of the things that people are looking for? What's the type of content that they're interested? Think like Northern Lights. There's a lot of activity right now with Northern Lights, and we have potential to see really good Northern Lights in Alberta. Dialing up the marketing about that. I think there's just all the little things that we pull together, and it eventually allows us to target the right people at the right time.
Yeah,
we've done here.
And what I'm super curious about, because people will always say, can't you just Google these businesses? But you have to collect all these experiences that are available in Alberta and try to present them to the right person at the right time who's curating their experience. Like, how on earth do you do that? It sounds like an impossible lift.
Yeah, there's thousands of small businesses in Alberta for tourism. I would say the majority of them have fewer than 5 people working at the tourism business. So it's truly small. And they need our help with marketing and promotions and really getting that spotlight. So that's our role, is to help them shine and put them into front of the travelers where it makes sense and give them that exposure so people know about their business and they can come and experience it.
Wow, such a diverse, I would want to say, partnership base, right? Where you have multiple people that you're serving, right? You have the folks that are coming in from overseas. We've got the small businesses in Alberta that are creating these experiences that need to be discoverable, because they can't always be discoverable through Google. They could be on page 30 of Google or not at all, because they don't have the in-house expertise to hire for someone to allow them to be seen, or the bandwidth to be posting nonstop on social media, et cetera. Like, it's such a handshake between Travel Alberta and industry to make this all happen. How do you keep track of it all, Jillian? Like from a tactical standpoint, when you think about the roadmap for Travel Alberta, how do you prioritize these activities, and what does a roadmap for Travel Alberta even look like?
So priorities, it is always changing based on what the goals are, but we really look at, again, those insights of what travelers are interested in, what types of experiences really drive revenue for tourism in Alberta, and those travelers that come and stay and explore many different areas of the province. We have an amazing brand and content team that helps support some of our tourism operators, the small business owners, with amazing photography or videography of their experiences, or writing really good articles or social posts. We have an amazing inventory of all the tourism products that live in Alberta, and that's something that my team oversees. So I like to call it like the Airbnb, but it's free for our tourism partners to add their business information so that it appears on our websites and some of our partner websites. And eventually we can do more automated campaigns and expose them to even more travelers globally.
Wow, that is a massive undertaking.
Yeah, it's been a lot, but it's been
it's been a lot, but it's been working, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it's just so exciting now that we have technology that makes this all possible, right? Like, you don't have to be just an accommodation or something that goes into Airbnb. We can do something for all types of experiences and tours, restaurants. So yeah, it's really cool to see the potential that we have.
From your perspective and where you're sitting right now, and knowing what's possible and what's ahead of us with technology that we can't even dream of right now, that is sitting right in front of us, what do you think the future of travel looks like? If you could close your eyes and say Technology Alberta is going to be able to do X in the future, what do you think that is?
It's wild to think about AI and how that's going to change how we as travelers book trips. It's just in the past 2 years, it's changed dramatically. So what used to be our travel agent creating this amazing custom itinerary, filling it with things you would have never been able to find on your own, AI is going to start doing that for us, right? And if we don't have the right information out there for AI to pull from, people aren't going to know about these experiences. So setting it up from the foundation and be able to lay that groundwork is super, super important. And building those AI tools, I think that's the next step in our journey, and figure out where we play in that.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And I'm just so curious about what brings people to, we have the database with all the experiences. And of course, we have some sort of front end, a website or an experience that people can find all these experiences. What brings people to Travel Alberta first? And what's that journey that you see a typical traveler go through when they're thinking of taking a vacation, to discovering Alberta, to planning their trip, and then arriving here?
Yeah, so Travel Alberta is really seen as an authoritative source, a trusted source of information that people really rely on. And we really want to make it easy and accessible to find what they're looking for. So if it's a certain type of accommodation, making that really accessible and easy to find, a certain type of experience. Alberta has even like a gopher hole museum of all things. So if you're interested,
of course we do.
We have gotten, it's actually one of our highest performing organic searches. And a lot of folks find the Alberta Gopher Hole Museum.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really that source of truth for people, and very trusted by travelers. And so they rely on us to provide that accurate information and provide details like what's around this experience. So things like maps on our websites are really important, so people can build that itinerary and see what's around in that region, what else there is to do and explore.
Yeah. We actually have we have a question from one of our audience members. So, hi, Jill, this is Roshan. In my earlier role as a product manager for an economic development organization, we developed tourism-focused zones / clusters to attain inorganic growth. Would love to hear your views on achieving inorganic growth for Travel Alberta. What are your thoughts there?
Wow, that's a whole podcast. Yeah, we have a team dedicated to our developing the tourism areas within Alberta. So those new zones where we can have new accommodations, our new experiences, resorts, that's part of our new mandate and growing that around the province in those lesser known areas. So if you go to industry.travelalberta.com, there's some information on that and what our plans are. But that's a big focus for our organization. In order to hit our goals, we really have to expand those types of experiences and get more product in our province.
Yeah. And didn't you win an award for some of those efforts?
Yes. We actually just won a Skift Award, which is one of our major travel public, really well known. So there was a Skift Award that was won for our tourism development work. So that side of our business, as well as on my team, we've created a 3D map to help travelers really get that bird's eye perspective on things like the Iceville Parkway and that amazing drive and all the stops along the way. We've won several awards for that. So very exciting times, and yeah, just to see all the success coming out of Travel Alberta.
Okay, how have you been able to build such incredible technology? And we know government isn't necessarily known for advanced technology, but obviously you need to have technology to be able to power this now $12 billion industry. What is it like bringing technology to the world through a government organization?
Yeah, it's exciting because we had so much room for change and opportunity. During COVID, we were so focused on the recovery and supporting our partners. And so coming out of COVID, we had some space to really rethink our strategies and what we're doing digitally. It's definitely a lot of change. So a lot of change management, bringing folks up to speed on what current best practices are. I built this incredible product team that we're really taking on all of our travel products and the operator products. So helping those small businesses in the tourism space thrive and really growing that spend.
Oh, speaking of your team, so maybe we'll shift gears a little bit. Like, we learned so much about your experience in tourism. Like, it's mind-boggling to me. We think of, oh yeah, it seems so simple. It's actually like tons of organization, tons of thoughts, tons of strategy, research, technology behind this. How did you land in this group product manager role where you're leading product management for this huge industry?
So in COVID, I learned about the product management program through Tacit Edge and loved it and loved doing product. Like, I felt like it was an immediate fit for me. And coming from marketing, there is so much overlap, right? So I was helping to iterate and improve on our advertising strategies, but over here in product, we're doing the same thing. We're doing it just in a different way. And so it was a perfect fit. There was an opportunity. I was in a partnerships marketing role, and there was an opportunity that came up internally to take on our website, our consumer website, travelalberta.com. And so I jumped into that. I said, I just finished this training. I'm really excited to launch travelalberta.com. And lo and behold, a few months later, I realized we had tons of products in Travel Alberta's ecosystem. We have a library full of all these images and assets that literally thousands of partners across the province use, or operators. We have our industry platforms. We have tools for grants. So really just took a step back and said, we already have this ecosystem. I think the product team could really add and build onto this and create a cohesive strategy and really help it flourish.
When you think about like your background coming from marketing, some common feedback we get through our coaching just in industry is when folks are pivoting into product management from seemingly what looks like from the outside very non-technical roles. How did you overcome that? I don't know if product management is for me because I don't have a technical background. Can you share a little bit of your experience with that for folks? Because it's a big part of the conversation right now, especially in the age of more advancements in technology. And we're pushing even more people farther away from the conversation because of the fears around AI and needing to have that background, which doesn't even exist because that's in its infancy. Like, we're all in our infancy when it comes to that conversation. How was that for you? How did you overcome that?
Yeah, I think there's obviously a little bit of imposter syndrome at the beginning. And just not only are you adapting to a new craft, but you're working with these partners that truly are experts in technology. And I think at the end of the day, we work together to bring our strengths together. So the people that are amazing with the technology and understanding how things work, partnering with our product teams that really want to understand the why and the user needs, the strategic business context, and bringing those things together really like unleashes a lot of potential. And you don't have to be an expert on all the technical things. It's really about what the user needs and making sure that we're building products that people know how to use and love to use.
We love it. One more time for the folks in the back.
You don't need to be technical. Just curious, like what elements of the product mindset and just being curious just helped you navigate that? Because it has to be intimidating. You think about all the technology that powers that industry. It's huge and can be difficult. So when you think about like your natural curiosity about things and the product mindset, can you give us some nuggets around what you really leaned into in those moments where you were feeling like, oh, I should be more technical? What was the stuff that was going through your mind that was your value in that conversation that you knew was what you were bringing?
I know I can really lean into empathy, and I have a lot of empathy for people who own a small business and are busy running their business and have so much passion for what they're doing and getting more customers. That's all important. But it's hard to do it all and do it all well. So once I leaned into the empathy of being a small business owner, what would I need support with? I was really able to like start thinking holistically of like, how can we ease this burden? So getting support from Travel Alberta isn't so difficult, that we can make it easy for them to help their business shine. And then, working with the technology teams and just really learning and asking questions and getting their thoughts and their recommendations, I think at the end of the day, you really have to trust those and make sure that you're just bringing all that user context to those teams and then working together to solve that problem for those users.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. Oh my goodness, so many questions. I'm not sure if we've got any questions online, but if you do, please put them in the chat. We're more than happy to get them over to Jill. Jill, what would you say is your favorite part of being a product manager? If you look at your career now and what you and your team have achieved through incredible conditions in Alberta that are historic, that have never been seen, when you reflect back, what's your favorite parts of the job?
My favorite part is definitely the collaborative nature of product. And so talking to people, being like really curious and asking some questions about why this is a certain way or what makes this work or how can we do this better. I think getting that expertise is really cool and like just learning about each little individual area, whether it's UX or technology or the traveler or the user experience. That's what gets me the most excited. And then within the tourism space, I think there's just been so much room for growth and change. We have the big players like the Expedias, the Airbnb, and so it's hard to keep up to that. They are massive companies, but it gives us a lot of inspiration on what we could be doing. And then, like I said, connecting these systems and these platforms and having that ecosystem that's super, super solid.
So amazing. Yes, folks, please give your questions because Jill, you've worked in tourism or in marketing and product for over 10 years.
Yeah. So like my blood now.
Not many people have that type of experience, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people would want to work in tourism. It's a dream. So folks, if you have questions, please put them here. But Jill, what advice do you have for folks who are interested in getting into the tourism industry?
I think for the tourism industry, a lot of people are saying, oh, I love travel. And of course, that's a reason to be in it. But there's a lot of like economics involved as well. Just understanding all the supply and the demand, piecing together different data sources. So having just a genuine curiosity on the business side in tourism, I think is really important. And people might not realize that we have so many small businesses in tourism and they do need support. Wearing that entrepreneur hat and not necessarily the traveler hat, but those two things really have to work hand in hand.
Wow. And how do you work with those partners? Like, it is economics. And like you said, you've alluded to like supply and demand. Like, how are you working with airlines to get enough people here? How are you working to develop those niche experiences?
Yeah, we work hand in hand with the domestic airline partners. So like the Air Canadas, the WestJets, we work closely with them because of course we have people who are going to, say like Canadians going over to the UK or to Japan, but we also have to bring people inbound as well, right? Making sure that those planes are full of travelers and they are ready to explore around, visit multiple destinations. It's a lot of sharing of information too. So if WestJet is they really want to promote their Japan flights, we would be working with them to drive that demand within Japan, as well as in Alberta, they would be promoting Japan to outbound travelers.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we don't even think about that often, that it's a two-sided marketplace.
Really. Yeah. So you want to have win benefits, right? So benefits for our airline partners, but also it benefits Alberta as a tourism destination, getting people from international locations because they'll tend to spend more than a person from like Alberta traveling around, for example. Right. So it's a lot of economy or economics and just finding that little balance.
Can we talk a little bit about what it's like to juggle so many interests at the table, right? There's so many challenges that product managers face on the job of being all things for all the partners all the time. Is there some advice that you could give product managers around, like advice you'd give a previous version of yourself around how to manage these partnerships and what to do when things get hard? I know we lean into frameworks a lot and we're always looking for ways, but what is our approach is always humans first, framework second. What could be some really human advice, Jill, that you give product managers in any space around how you juggle some of the hard times on the job?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't feel like I have a perfect answer, perfect solution, but for me, it's really listening to our partners, asking really good questions about their goals, what they're trying to achieve, any barriers that they might have, and then seeing where those goals overlap with Travel Alberta and working towards that common goal. So at times it's really hard. You're going to spread the peanut butter too thin and try to do everything. But I think if we stay focused on what we're trying to do and do that thing really well, that's ultimately what helps us be more successful. So for Travel Alberta, that looks like focusing in on certain international markets rather than being in everywhere. We're more dialed in now and focusing on those regions to bring those travelers in. If they have a higher likelihood to visit Alberta and they're interested in the types of experiences that we have, that's where we put our efforts and our energies. On the product side, same thing, having that foundation, that solid foundation where we can get the data all set up and the platform set up so that we can expand and grow and drive that demand and also analyze our supply of our visitor experiences. It's really, you just really have to be narrow focused and talk to people.
Awesome.
Just talk to people.
Talk to people. Other humans.
Some questions. And we have really solid relationships with destination marketing organizations around the province. So people at Travel Alberta are connecting almost daily with those teams, and they're the boots on the ground getting insights from the smaller businesses within that region. So if you're Travel Drumheller, you have all those businesses that are in that region that are talking to Drumheller, and we're talking to Travel Drumheller and about what those needs are and getting those messages across.
Amazing. So how, because we're just about at a time for what we've got today, if you were pivoting into product and you had a wild background, just like we all do, what piece of advice would you give to folks who want to explore a career in product management?
My advice is to never doubt yourself and to know that you do have what it takes. You don't have to be technical. You can bring the experience and your passion and your interests and really help that drive your career in product and be successful. Build a team. You see something that needs to get done, just do it. Just go in and jump in and really just keep sticking with your gut and making those calls based on what you're hearing from your users or what in the business.
Any other questions today, dude?
No, honestly, Jill, this has just been I think people just don't know the type of unbelievable product minds that we have just under our noses. Alberta is it was so funny. I remember talking to colleagues in the US and I'm like, oh yeah, I live in Calgary. I'm close to Banff, and there's Banff? You live near Banff? You live near that paradise? And I'm like, yeah, you know about it? I think we need to recognize that we are on a global scale. We're a globally recognized brand now. We're no longer the underdogs. So having folks like you come in who is not only an expert in our product as a tourism product being so world-renowned, also your product management skills being so unique and world-renowned, I think it's just a call to everyone. Talk to the people around you. You have no idea the type of expertise and quality folks that we have. Just look to your left, look to your right. Everyone has a story, and I feel so lucky, and we feel so lucky that we could have you on the podcast, Jill.
Yes,
thank you.
I loved chatting with you today and telling you a little bit what's going on behind the scenes. at Travel Alberta. And yeah, next time you're out on a hike and you come up some other traveler, ask them where they're from and why did they choose to come to wherever you are. I was at Johnson Canyon a couple of weeks ago and met a lovely woman from Las Vegas, Dolly from Las Vegas, I'll never forget. Said it was like her 20th time coming to Alberta. She came on her honeymoon. She's come back. She was with her husband this time. They wanted to do the hike again. So people's stories are incredible, and we just have to stop and talk to each other and get our story.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing.
So that's everyone's homework for the weekend. Stop.
There you go.
No, I
Stop.
want to talk to someone.
Yeah. You have to remind you on a hiking trail.
Yeah, when everyone's looking at the golden lurches this weekend, go talk to.
How did you create your
Larches. Yeah, go visit some small businesses. Go to the cowboy trail. All the things.
Yeah, the cow. Love it. Thank you, Jill, and thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you again soon.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, rate and review this podcast, and you might find your review in a future episode. Please subscribe to Product for Humans wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. To get more information about Product for Humans and our content, please visit our website at tacit-edge.com, tacit-edge.com. We'll see you next time. Okay, should we do it one more time?
Sweet. Yeah, let's do it.